Jai Sri Radhe, Jai Sri Radhe, Jai Sri Radhe. So I posted on one group, several places actually, because it was this week was World Sanskrit Week. I don't know, World Sanskrit Week, Sanskrit Week. Anyway, it's Sanskrit Week in India. So I'm pretty sure that's been organized by the Sanskrit Bharati. And to them, we are grateful for that. And there was also a Sanskrit Day, which was a Shravana Purnima. So Shravana Purnima is a day when there's so many activities are going on, but it's also Sanskrit Day. So next year, I promise that if I'm at Jiva, that we will put on a special program for Sanskrit Divasa. My students will come forth and will show their mettle, as they say. A couple of years ago, we did a play about Jiva Goswami. I don't know if any of you, some of you were probably there for that. So I'm quite, I've become quite an advocate for Sanskrit. I mean, I'm quite an advocate for what am I saying? I just, let's say that I've become convinced that it's a worthwhile thing for me to do after all these years of teaching Sanskrit, to actually become an advocate for the Sanskrit language. And especially since I wish to become a citizen of India, I feel that for me, being Indian means to speak Sanskrit. So I've started giving some videos in Sanskrit, and today I won't try to do that, but I would like to translate Prime Minister Modi's letter, which I don't think for a moment he wrote himself. But at any rate, Modi has given speeches in Sanskrit, so I'm, he understands the role of Sanskrit. I think that for this role of Sanskrit is a long-term project. Anyway, let me read the letter. Let me first share it on the screen here so you can all look along. So there, if there are any students of mine are there, you please pay attention. All right, so here you just see the symbol. So for those people who don't recognize, this is the national symbol of India, three-headed lion here. And this is from Ashoka. It's actually a four-headed. It has the fourth one is in the back. So this is on the Ashoka Stambha. So many of the symbols related to India's, like on the Indian flag, there's a chakra. That's not Sudarshan chakra. That's the wheel of Dharma. It's a nice symbol. It's a Buddhist symbol. So I really like that about the Indian flag. And look here. And so Ashoka, this idea of the four lions in the four directions, quite a nice symbolic nationalist emblem, I would say, defending all the directions and ruling the four directions. It's a bit of an imperialistic thing. Well, Ashoka was an imperialist. He conquered most of India. He had one of the larger empires in India's history. And now here we have the motto. So this is the motto, India's motto. I'm in love with India's motto. Of course, all mottos are usually quite good. Most countries have good mottos. But Satyameva Jayate. The truth alone will be victorious. The truth alone is victorious. This comes from the Upanishads, of course. And this was Gandhi's motto. So if nothing else, Gandhi has left his stamp on India by the motto Satyameva Jayate. And I love that, because this is actually, for all the things people say, look at, all this mythology and Krishna Bhakti. But it's all about Satyasya Satyam, Satyatmakam Tvam Sharanam Prapanna. So Krishna is the truth. He is the truth. He's the truth of the truth. He's the truth that is behind the possibility of truth. That's how you have to understand Krishna. So Satyameva Jayate, I'm an Indian for that motto, because I think that's a great motto. And I think that it means that, that justice will prevail. Justice will prevail. So anyone who accuses of injustice, no, we say justice will prevail. Okay, so Pradhana Mantri, Prime Minister, Sandeshaha, message. Okay, so I don't know why he didn't put a Visarga here. Somebody else must have put the, must have done the this arrangement of the material, because that's not Sanskrit, that's Hindi. Okay, Sandeshaha would be the Sanskrit. And Sandesha, I don't know, I think in Sanskrit we would rather put Vigyapanam or something like Vigyapanam. Announcement. So etat gyatavataha mama prasannata jata yat unnavimshatitaha panchavinshatitama Augusta paryantam Sanskrita saptahasya ayojanam kriyate iti. Sanskrita bhashayah prachara prasarabhyang saha yuktebhyah bhashavidbhyah vidvajanebhyah cha hardikyah shubha kamanah. So this is a very formal, typical, letter from a prime minister on such occasions. The prime minister is called upon to celebrate or to announce celebrations, or to, if it's Janmashtami, to wish everyone well for Janmashtami or Christmas or whatever the heck it is. So here also, in this particular occasion, it's Sanskrit Day. So he said, so the reason I said that the Sanskrit was a little bit elegant, because later on when I went through the whole thing a bit more thoroughly, it's pretty standard stuff. It's prime ministerese in Sanskrit. Okay, you would expect, you would know what to expect in a press release. So it's really a press release, I should say, right? It's a press release. So he's giving a press release. So press releases are very typically standard, a formalized particular format of language, right? You kind of know what to expect and how to say it, and so on. So all the little formalities are there. So the gyatavataha, so this sentence is slightly complicated by the fact that gyatavataha mama is going with iti, right? So knowing that, so if I became mama prasannata jata, I became happy on hearing that between the 19th and 25th of August, it will be, there will be an organized program of Sanskrit Week. So Sanskrita bhashayah prachara prasarabhyang saha yuktebhyah bhashavidbhyah vidvajanebhyah cha hardikyah shubha kamanah. So all those people who are engaged in preaching or in spreading the Sanskrit language, prachara means prachara. Well, we use the word prachara for preaching, right? And pracha and precha, that was kind of goes together. So there's a natural tendency to connect the two. But it means that those are the Sanskrita Bharati are actively engaged in a missionary spirit to establish Sanskrit as the national language of India. I think that's their ultimate goal. But they're doing it not from the top down, but from the bottom up. So Sanskrit is already one of India's national languages. And so that's why here you have, even a press release coming in Sanskrit. And it's probably been translated into the other languages, and I'm only translating it and commenting on it here. But Sanskrita bhashaya prachara prasarabhyang sahayuktebhyah bhashavidbhyah vidvajanebhyah cha hardikya shubha kamana. So I offer all my heartfelt wishes to all those linguists or those knowledge and scholars who are connected with the teaching and spreading of the Sanskrit language. Very properly backwards in Sanskrit, right? In Sanskrit, you have to learn how to think backwards. So Sanskrita bhashayah prachara prasarabhyang saha yuktebhyah bhashavidbhyah vidvajanebhyah cha hardikyah shubha kamanah. So Sanskrit bhashayang tasyaha sahitye cha asmakam samriddham riktham jivanasya sarvena kshetrena saha yuktam jnanam cha samahitam asti. So Sanskrit bhashayang tasyah sahitye cha. So in the Sanskrit language and in its literature, our life, no, excuse me, our the wealth of this, oh, I get it. Sorry, rikta means inheritance. Our opulent inheritance is immersed or is situated in every field, right? So jivanasya sarvena kshetrena, in every field of life, saha yuktam jnanam cha samahitam. This knowledge connected to Sanskrit is contained, is present. So Sanskrit bhashayang tasya sahitye cha asmakam samriddham riktham jivanasya sarvena kshetrena saha yuktam jnanam cha samahitam asti. Well, this is, of course, now when we talk about Sanskrit in India, you're going to talk about the heritage that's there. So this is the, and this is what I've been saying also, and that the idea that Sanskrit lies at the base of all the major Indian languages and enriches their vocabulary to this day with terminology. So Esha Bhasha, but here he's, but there's more to it than that, of course. And he'll say that. Esha Bhasha Vipulasya Sahitya Samuhasya Bharatiyasya Jnanasya Vijnanasya Sanskrityaha Sanskarasya Darshanasya Mulyanang cha Abhivyaktehe Vahika Asti. So this language is the carrier, the Vahika. So Esha Bhasha, this language is the Vahika, the carrier. Of what? Of this immense Sanskrit literature. All of India's knowledge, all of India's science, India's culture, India's character, India's philosophy. The basis of all those things is expressed the emergence or the development of all those things came through the Sanskrit language. The Sanskrit language carried all those things and which still remain very much at the basis of Indian culture, like it or not. So Vishvasya prachinatamasu bhashasu anyatama Sanskrita bhasha bahvinam bhashanam sanskritinam cha astitvasya adharah asti. So in Sanskrit is one among all the oldest languages of the world. And it is the basis or the basis of many other languages and cultures, and to the existence of these other languages and cultures. I think maybe there's a bit of subtlety there that I didn't quite catch, but the idea of astitvasya adharaha. In other words, it's the basis of their existence. if Sanskrit wasn't there, they wouldn't be there, in other words. To asmakam purvajaha, or at least not in that form. Asmakam purvajaha, asmakam manishinaha, swiyaya tapasyaya, etang bhashang sarvabhyaha mahattaram vaigyanika bhasham akritavantah. All right, so now we get the claims. Right? So our forefathers and our great sages, our great thinkers, they, through their own tapasya, in other words, through their effort, through their great and sacrifice, they made this language into one of the greater, or the greatest, let's say, of all these languages. In which way? As scientific language. So this has now become the motto, really, of some Sanskrit enthusiasts. I think it's a little bit overstretched, but nevertheless, because Sanskrit was used in that way. I mean, if you ever listen to Satyanarayan Das Babaji's lectures, of course, then you know how his mind works, and how his previous scientific training, mathematical training, fits very, very well with his study of Sanskrit, with Nyaya, and with all the other, intellectual rigorousness that is found in the Sanskrit texts, the philosophical texts. We are not so fortunate as to be rendered there, but here that would be a support, let's say, of this sentence, that asmakam amanishinaha, or asmakam purvajaha, asmakam amanishinaha, swiyaya tapasyaya, etang bhashang sarvabhyaha mahattaram vaigyanika bhashang kritavantah. Eshaha anandasya vishayah asti yat adya tantragyanasya madhyamena sanskritam adhikadhikana janan sahajataya prapnuvat asti. So here we're living proof of that, because this is what we're talking about. Tantra Jnana means technical knowledge. So here, through modern technology, adya, through technology, by means of madhyamena, madhya means by the means of the technology, Sanskritam, the Sanskrit language, adhikadhika jana, adhikadhikana jana, more and more people, sahajataya, easily reaches. So eshaha anandasya, that is a matter of joy. Eshaha anandasya vishayah asti yat adya tantragyanasya madhyamena sanskritam adhikadhikan janan sahajataya prapnuvat asti. So now here's one, this is a characteristic of modern Sanskrit, right? Here's the use of yat in this way. Now doesn't start with modern Sanskrit, but it's used naturally in modern Sanskrit. So it is a matter of joy that. So that yet here is that. So this construction is quite commonly used in the modern Sanskrit. You might have said it differently in the earlier times. So and then what follows here, you could, so if you use yat, then you don't have to say iti. So Vishve Sarvatra Sanskrita Bhashang Prati Jananam Anuragaha Vidhaha Asti. So everywhere in the world, and people are showing increasing love for Sanskrit language. They're showing, well, maybe this is too much to say love, we'll say interest at any rate, right? So more and more people around the world are becoming interested, or they are becoming more and more interested, because vriddha means increasing. So interest in the Sanskrit language around the world is increasing. Sanskritasya prachara prasarayoho krite. Sanskrita Sangvardhana Pratishtanasya Dwara Kriyamanaha Prayasaha Prashangsaniyaha Santi. So here, without mentioning Sanskrit Bharati directly, but that's what he's, that's the main one. But now, there have been others in the past, and there are many, many more besides Sanskrit Bharati. Just Sanskrit Bharati has been particularly effective, and has probably brought more people to speaking Sanskrit than any other. And he has a more democratic view of Sanskrit, so that more, it's not just an intellectual language. You see, that's what I was saying before also. You see, this idea of this Vaigyanika Bhasha, the scientific language. But now a scientific language, it can only be a scientific language if it's, it's very much if it's a controlled language. If it's a spoken language, it becomes, it loses control. Like in France, they make fun of it in France, that the France has this, what is it, the Académie Française. The Académie Française, they make all kinds of pronouncements about what is correct and incorrect French, but nobody gives a damn what they say. They all, talk the way that they talk, and people write the way that they talk. That's the modern world. But Sanskrit is very formal. And the reason it's so formal is because it is primarily a written language. And it's primarily an intellectual language, a language in which, intellectuals shared ideas. At any rate, when you start talking about complex affairs, then you need to have a language that functions predictably, let's say. So eshaha anandasya vishayah asti yat adya tantragyanasya madhyamena sanskritam adhikadikana janan sahajataya prapnuvat asti. Vishwe asarvatra Sanskrita bhashang prati jananam anuragah vriddhah asti. Sanskritasya prachara prasara yoho krite Sanskrita sangvardhana pratishtanasya dwara kriyamanaha prayasaha prashangsaniyaha santi. So you see, in that respect, I think that Sanskrit is indeed has something to be said for it in the way that it constructs its thoughts. So of Sanskrit, right, of the teaching and spreading of Sanskrit, krite, for the sake of preaching and spreading Sanskrit language, Sanskrita Sangvardhana Pratishtanasya Dwara, by the organizations that are spreading Sanskrit. Sangvardhana means increasing Sanskrit, growing Sanskrit, developing Sanskrit. I'm not exactly sure what the exact parallel would be. Sangvardhana, let's say development, it could be good. Development might be quite good. Yeah, so the Sangvardhana, the idea that it's improving and increasing and so on. So to the development of Sanskrit. I think that's a good one. So the organizations that are engaged in developing Sanskrit, kriyamanaha prayasaha prashangsaniyaha santi. The efforts in organizing all, it's their efforts that are being engaged in order to preach and spread the Sanskrit language. So their efforts are praiseworthy, prashangsaniyaha. Mama vishwasaha asti. It is my belief. Yet, here you see that construction again, you see. Mama vishwasaha asti. My belief, I believe that, right? Like the other one was there we had previously. I hear eshaha anandasya vishayaha asti. Yet, like that. So mama vishwasaha asti yat Sanskrita saptahasya ayojanam janeshu visheshatah yuvasu asmakam asanskrita paramparam prati kanchita navama ruchim navam utsaham cha utpadayitum mahatva purnam yoga danam karishyati. All right, so using simple, probably, I'm guessing that this was translated from English. But anyway, so the sentence is, Mama Vishwasa Asti, yet it is my belief that this arrangement, or this what would you call it? This festival or something. This program, let's call it a program. Let's say ayojana program. So this program of a Sanskrit Saptaha, this program of a Sanskrit Saptaha, this program of a Sanskrit week, amongst the people, especially the young ones, will bring about a new taste, some new taste for our Sanskrit heritage, or our Sanskrit traditions, or our cultural traditions, right? Our cultural traditions. So it is our belief that this program of a Sanskrit week will awaken in people, and especially the young, a new taste and a new enthusiasm for our cultural heritage. And utpadayitum mahatvapurnam yogadanam Krishna. It will make an important contribution to so doing. Let's put it that way. All right, so this is a sentence was a bit long. And as you know, if you go forward in Sanskrit, you translate word for word going forward. See, Sanskrit is written from right to left, but its thought is from left to right. Is that right? No, it's written left to right, but it thinks right to left. So, ayojanasya safalatartham hardikyaha shubhakamanaha. So, best wishes for the success of the program. Okay, so there you got it. A press release from the Prime Minister's office in Sanskrit language. So you can learn how to write a press release in Sanskrit. Might one day be a good paying job. Jai Jai Sri Radhe, Jai Jai Sri Radhe, Jai Jai Sri Radhe Shyam.